Jarrett was crazy enough to decide that he's going to move to Japan and start a studio. I remember a night we just drank and talked, and he said, it's life-changing, you have to come here. I, that night, bought a one-way ticket to Japan. My name is Bellamy Brooks, and my job is anime. So basically, Sakkan is a short version of the full title Sakuga Kantoku, animation director. I prefer to call it a drawing supervisor. They are highly skilled illustrators that know animation well enough to improve the overall picture, but implement the feedback from the Kantoku and Inshutsu so that when the layout animator receives their cuts back, they have an easy time adapting it to Genga. I worked on Boruto, Prima Doll, Akiba Maid War, Magical Destroyers, 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You, That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime, The Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, another movie called Big. At this point, I think I have 20 to 30 credits in different shows, so it's hard for me to remember all of them. What was really surprising to me when I learned about character design in Japan is that the character designers are animators, and there's almost no cases where they aren't if they are working on the production itself. The reason why that happens is because they want the designs to look exactly like the character designers' designs. And the only way that can happen is if they supervise the animation. That's always a shock to people who tried to come over because they built this huge character design portfolio, but they don't have animation experience. I always tell people too that animation is the fastest way to improve your drawing skills. So even if you don't want to be an animator and you want to be a designer, the animation is going to improve your skills so fast that your odds of becoming a designer are much higher just from a technical skill standpoint. The main thing that I encourage Western animators or foreign animators to do is to become very good at drawing, understand all of the Japanese fundamentals of animation before joining the industry, because if you do that, then you already start at a higher level. The thing is if you are at the same level of everyone else around you and you don't speak Japanese, then you won't be hired.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
you have the point.
There's a challenge for foreign animators who don't speak Japanese that they must have a higher standard for themselves and their work to justify their hiring and the inconvenience of not knowing Japanese language. I moved here with no Japanese at all. I think maybe I knew konnichiwa, like that was it. And so when I moved, I started studying. I got to the point where I can operate in the anime industry at a high level with minimal skills in Japanese. So you don't need that much Japanese to work in anime. At least be able to recognize written characters and understand very basic conversations. You should be fine in the anime industry, but there may be an upper limit to opportunities until you are fluent in Japanese. So you'll have to find ways to partner with people who are fluent or bilingual, or go to a company that hires interpreters. There's quite a few now actually to work with foreign animators. In my case, I'm quite lucky because my partner Linnea, she's fluent in Japanese and she works with me. It doesn't have any extra cost or time commitment for the studio, so it's very convenient. Animation, when you're in Japan and you've worked here for a few years, is a sustainable middle-class job. I don't think it's poverty wages or like people are suffering. If I was to work at an animation job in America, for example, the pay might be more, but the quality of life will be lower. Japan is an insulated economy, and when you are living here, the quality of your life would be much higher because the cost of living is lower. For me, I improved my quality of life by coming here. Even though my income is half what it was before. There's this conception that people in Japan are sad and like overworked and don't feel like they have a life and things like this, but that impression, just in my experience, isn't true. There's something tricky about having a business built around artists. And when you have artists who care about their work, you can't prevent them from overworking. If you were to try to put limitations on them, they will work in secret to keep working at their art. It's kind of this self-fulfilling thing. I think businesses do recognize that animators will choose to overwork, but yeah, it's just a tricky thing. I think that there's this impression of Tokyo as being like this really stressful and overly work-centered environment, but when you come to places like this, it breaks that notion, I think, and you see people laughing and having fun and enjoying the weather. So I think that being here kind of roots my perception of Japan in a different way than you might think about, oh, the overworked salarymen on the subway. This is how I feel about Tokyo, is the way I see the park. I've noticed that the trees are greener here. Yeah. I think it has something to do with atmosphere or the way light reflects or something, but maybe it's just an emotional feeling too. But it just feels like things are more alive and vibrant here. The shrines are very peaceful, beautiful, and inspiring places. I feel like they bring me a sense of calm, the ability to just stay in a peaceful moment and reflect on your current situation and think about how you can improve it. There's no better place to do that than at a shrine. This area I call the Burbank of Tokyo. Burbank is where Hollywood movies are filmed. There's animation museums everywhere. There's film screenings. There's the Ghibli Museum. It's very inspiring. I'm not just going to encourage everyone widespread, come to Japan, it's the greatest. I feel like for me it is, but it might not be for everyone. Experience Japan, experience the culture, and try to learn what the difference is between your culture is and this one. Think, am I okay to adopt more Japanese cultural ideas in my daily life? Because if you do, I mean, you might still stand out because you're foreign, but if you fall in love with the quiet on the train and all the different things that makes Japan unique, I would highly encourage you to join the industry.